Hey everybody, Nick here. As you know, every single month I give you a market update so that you can keep your finger on the pulse of Houston real estate. We just received the recently released numbers for July of 2020, so let's get right into it. Now, you might think that with everything going on, Houston real estate might not be doing so well, but that could not be farther from the truth. In July, single-family home sales actually rose 23% year over year versus this same time last year, and total purchases across all property types actually was up 25%. Now, what we are seeing is low inventory. Typically, around this time of year, we would be seeing around 20% more properties or higher inventory than we're seeing right now. Typically, at this time of year, we'd be closer to that 4 months of inventory, and this year we're actually dwindling down to 3 months of inventory. So really low inventory, and again, that just makes it more competitive for buyers, but it makes it great for sellers who are trying to get top dollar for their property. Now, we attribute this low inventory to concern with everything going on with the pandemic, and there's a lot of home sellers who still aren't sure if they're ready to dip their toes in the real estate market. However, we do have a record amount of home buyers in the market, and this is creating a little bit of a supply and demand problem. Anytime you have more buyers than there are available listings, you have created a seller's market. And we've been inching towards and are now in a seller's market for the last few months due to everything going on. Now, what does a seller's market mean? A seller's market is when there are not enough homes available and there are more buyers than there are homes, and therefore buyers are fighting over or competing with each other to purchase the limited inventory that is available. This typically means that sellers are able to command a higher price for their houses than if it was a buyer's market, where buyers typically have more control and sellers are fighting to get their property sold against one another. Now, typically when I give you guys these reports, the most hot part of the market is that normal average price range, that 200 to 300,000 price range. But this time around, the 500 to 750,000 price range actually saw the biggest increase at over 51%. And surprisingly, in second place was actually the luxury market, that's 750 and above, which saw over a 41% increase. Now, with it being a seller's market, you would expect that home prices might rise. And is that the case for July 2020? And the answer is yes. Single-family home median price actually rose over 8% year over year. And to go along with that, the average price actually rose over 8% as well. So good on both fronts. And all of that culminates in year-to-date sales being 2.7% ahead of 2019's record-breaking pace. And if you've watched any of my previous market updates, you'll know that 2019 was a record-breaking year. So for us to be having a pandemic and still in 2020 having a record-breaking real estate year, that's amazing. Days on market, which is another metric that we track, did edge up just a little bit from 51 days on market to 56. But that's not that crazy of an increase. So it's not necessarily saying doom and gloom that houses are sitting on the market, but it is something to be noted. Now, for all my landlords out there with investment properties who are leasing them out, you may be wondering, how is the leasing market doing? Well, the great answer is leases are doing just as well. Single-family home leases are actually up over 2%, and townhomes and condominiums, which typically don't do as well, at least here in the Houston market, actually saw an increase year over year this time as well. Now, with all these great numbers, you might also be wondering to yourself, can we keep this up? Is this sustainable? And this is a mixed bag sort of answer. You've got really low inventory. You've got really low interest rates, which buyers are certainly taking advantage of, and that's why we're seeing all these great numbers. But eventually, if inventory doesn't pick up, if we don't get more homes on the market, buyers will run out of choices. Doesn't mean that homes won't get purchased. It just means that it'll be a little bit more difficult for a buyer to find what they're looking for because there's not enough homes to choose from. But as a seller, this is a great opportunity for you. If you have been on the fence about selling your property, now, even amid everything going on in this pandemic, now is the perfect time to sell your house because you're going to have lots of buyers competing for your property. You're going to get top dollar for it. Now, of course, you still have to have great marketing. You still have to have great exposure. That's where me and my team at the Bridge Group are going to come in, and that's what we're going to take care of for you. So those things that we still recommend to you still have to happen. However, instead of there being 5 houses just like yours here in Houston that are on sale at the same time, maybe there's only one other one. We're seeing some neighborhoods that have as little as 50% of the normal inventory that they would typically have this time of year. That's crazy. That means there are half as many houses in some neighborhoods as there normally would be. If there's half as many houses available, that means that there's less competition for you as a seller. What about a home buyer? Is a home buyer going to struggle in this market? And the answer is kind of. There's not going to be as many choices out there for you. However, when a choice does come on the market, that's when having all of your ducks in a row, having your pre-approval done, being ready to make a decision right then and there, being ready to go and see a house as soon as it hits the market, that's where having a great agent comes into play. Because a great agent can not only make sure that you get in to see the house quickly, but can also make sure that you get your offer in before anybody else, and that it's a full and filled out offer. You know, a lot of times, a lot of these agents are throwing out offers that are only partially done. And when you work with me and my team at the Bridge Group and our transaction coordinator that helps us on our transactions, you're going to make sure that not only is your offer going to get in quickly, because we're always available and you have a whole team of people behind you backing you up, not only is that going to happen, but when your offer does get set in, it's going to be a full and complete offer. And sellers really appreciate being able to have all of those documents in place, especially real estate agents on the other end of the transaction. They really appreciate being able to see the entire offer and not waiting for other docs to come in while they're still receiving other offers. So you want to make sure that you get in there first, that you get in to see the home, that you get that offer in quickly, and that it's a full and completely filled out offer. That's where we come into play. On top of that, we're going to be working to still negotiate the best deal for you. And right now, I mean, I can tell you, I have offers in on properties and we're still getting great deals on them. This is not one of those scenarios where you have to pay over market value and you're going to be coming out of pocket in order to meet the appraisal because it's not worth what you put an offer in for. I mean, we're not necessarily seeing that on every single property. We are seeing that on some, but it's still the case where if you have a great agent who knows what they're doing and has experience, we're still going to be running comparable analysis reports on properties that you're interested in. And because of that, we're still going to be making good, full, complete offers at good prices and getting you market value, if not less, if at all possible. If there's a deal to be had, trust me, we're going to get it for you. All right, guys, that is our market update for July of 2020. As you know, these numbers are released 30 days later. So we are just now seeing the numbers for July, even though it is August. So you've got to stay tuned for September in order to see August numbers. So that video will be coming out here in just a few weeks. So at the end of the day, what are we left with? What's an overview? Give me the numbers in a short, sweet, succinct form. Well, purchases are up. Inventory is low. Interest rates are also low. So you've got to make sure that if you're a buyer, that you're ready to make an offer, that you've got your pre-approval done, that you're ready to go see a house, that you're working with an agent who can not only react quickly and get that offer in and make sure that it's completely filled out, but also knows what they're doing to make sure that you still get the best deal possible. And if you're a seller, now is the perfect time to sell because there is very little competition on the market for your house. So you are going to get top dollar and you're going to have short days on market because you've got so many buyers looking to purchase. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. If you like today's content, make sure that you give it a thumbs up. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below. I put out new content every single week. Thank you guys once again so much for watching to the end of the video, and we'll see you guys on the next one.